What's going on, boys and girls? We are in the kitchen again today. We had our first snow yesterday. It's cold as shit outside, and I'm like a day away from finishing up my passion project. I haven't said anything about it. I made some changes. I have a lot of hours in on this thing, but I'm super happy with it. It's going to be badass. It's going to be fun, but I have to figure out how to get in the backyard now that we have snow because it is heavy. So, anyway, we're in the kitchen. Beef tips and noodles, somewhat. This is my way of doing it. It's essentially my mushroom gravy, just on a grander level. And we are going to sear up some ribeyes. We are going to cut them. That way we get all the elements. We get that nice crusty ribeye. We get that deep mushroom sauce, the gravy, some nice wide egg noodles. It's a good dish, man, especially on a cold, nasty day like this. It, one second. It warms you up, warms them insides, boys and girls. So, real quick, super simple recipe. We got some ribeyes. I didn't even take the time to make a rub. These are just hit with some hardcore red, which is a great go-to, in my opinion. We got a leek. You can use a scallion. You can use an onion. You can use whatever the hell you want. I would prefer these. And then we have some shiitake, oyster, and baby bellas. You know, my mushroom trifecta. So we're in the cast iron today, simply because I need some depth. So I'm not using my carbon steel, which I prefer. I think we all know that. So we got it nice and hot. We got some smoke rolling off of her. We're just going to hit it with a little bit of oil, a couple of tablespoons. We're doing nothing fancy with the steaks right now because we're going to get plenty of flavor in them. Alexa, stop. So we're just going to turn this around, let that oil heat up, get it nice and dancing, and then we're going to toss our steaks in. All right. So the oil's dancing, she's glistening. I have to turn my fan on because it's going to make a bunch of smoke and it sets the damn smoke alarms off. My wife's upstairs in a meeting as usual, and she will go code blue on me if I set all the damn smoke detectors off in the house. So I have my AirPods in. Microphone should be picking me up a little bit better than the fan, but bear with me, guys. All right. You know how we do this. Put them in there. I'm just going to do two right off the bat, and then I'll do that second one afterwards. I'm just going to let these go for a few minutes on each side. All I want to do is just build that crust. We don't need to fully cook the meat because we're going to finish it off. And it's ribeye. You don't want it all the way cooked. You know, we're not using any sirloin or anything like that. We're not going to tenderize it. It's ribeye. It's already tender. So we're just going to get a nice crust on it, get it seared up real nice, pull it off, let it rest, and then we can just cut it up and enter it into our sauce. We're going to build our base and our mushroom sauce in the same exact pan. So we're going to get all that flavor in there, all that goodness. That's it. So I'm going to sear these out. All right. So we got our steaks. I left only just a small tablespoon of the oil that was in there. Left everything at the bottom of the pan. Just going to throw about a tablespoon of butter in. We're going to bring our heat back up now. Get this all around it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull all those nice, delicious bits from the bottom of that pan with some red wine. We'll be adding some red wine after, but we want to Get everything from the bottom of that right now, too. Just a quick one. This is very small, a little bit of red wine. The butter already deglazed it quite a bit. Just like that. Now we got some, almost like a red wine butter going on in there. Let that alcohol cook off here for a minute. And just bring that heat down. And what it's going to do is it's almost going to thicken a little bit. And it's just going to get that flavor. Let that soak up. Got our heat down on low. Come on over here. We got our leek. I am just going to, let me grab something here. I'm not sure. I haven't sharpened any. Cut the bottom bulb right off of there. And I am just going to thin cut these. Like so. And get them broken up. Leeks are awesome. The titan of onions. Such a nice flavor to them. If you haven't tried leeks, try them. They're great raw, they're great cooked, they're just good all the way around. And we got our mushroom blend. I'm not even going to chop up this blend at all. I'm going to keep it fully intact. And we're going to come over here to that pan with all that deliciousness in it. We're going to get our heat up to about a medium high. Still should be pretty well up there. Oh man, look at that. How much flavor that is right there. Lick it. Throw our leeks in there. Throw that umami mushroom blend in there. Man, that blend this time looks like it robbed me of my oyster mushrooms, man. My favorite. What bullshit's that? All right, so I'm going to let these just cook down a little bit, just to get nice and soft, and then we'll start working with them. All right, it's that beautiful consistency we have going on. And like I've said many times, I never salt my onions if you want to caramelize them at all, because it pulls the moisture out, keeps you from caramelizing. So now we're just going to season this, a little salt, a little pepper, and we're going to toss in about 5 cloves of garlic, because we want it nice and garlicky. No such thing as too much garlic. If anybody ever tells you that, they're your enemy. Remember that. Oh, I can smell it. Just woke it up. Good morning. Just like that. I'm going to let that go for a second. All right, so it's been a couple minutes. Just letting that garlic wake up. Just slightly brown. I got my heat down at medium now. I don't know if not sure if I mentioned that or not. So now, what we're going to do, we're essentially going for our mother sauce, man. Good old bechamel without the cream, though. Because we're not making stroganoff. So we got 3 tablespoons. This is unsalted butter, since I am seasoning as I'm going. You know, like I've said many times, sometimes using the salted butter just works out perfectly, because then you don't have to mess with it. So I'm going to let that melt down. I'm going to let that get into the mushrooms, get into them leeks, get into that garlic. Then we're going to hit it with our flour. Okay, so we got all our butter in there, real nice. Look at that. Everything's cooked down. It's just a flavor mosh pit in there right now. Now, hit it with our red. I don't want to burn it off. I just want it to cook off. I want it to simmer in there. I want to keep that flavor in there. Just like that. We'll bring everything up. If there was anything on the bottom of that pan, we're just going to take it all up and bring it into that mix. Let the sugars and the wine break down in there, all that other good stuff. Man, she's smelling good. The beauty of this is all one pan, man. So at the end of the night, you say, feel like you ate a 5-star meal, man. Like you've been cooking all day, and you only got one pan to clean. So just let that cook for a second. Now, smells pretty good. I'm going to hit it with about, I don't know, 3 tablespoons of flour. It's about what we have in the butter. I like to keep the ratios the same on my bechamels. I usually do, equal parts flour, equal parts butter. So I'm just going to make sure this gets coated on everything, break everything up from clumping, and then we just want to cook that rawness out of that flour. Let that raw flour taste just cook out, and it almost gets kind of nutty, Gives you that nice deep flavor. So I'm going to keep that evened out like that. And I'm just going to let this go for about a minute or two. I'm going to keep mixing it around. Just make sure all that raw flour is cooked out of there. All right, so it's been about 2 minutes. I mean, you could smell when that rawness is cooked out. There almost becomes like a, like I said, like a nutty flavor, stuff like that. But you can also tell by when things aren't exactly clumping up anymore. You see how it's almost like dried out? How it's almost like everything is breaded now. You know what I'm saying? You know it's good. So now we're just going to take our beef stock. Like I said, it's no cream. We got our heat on a medium high. Put about, I don't know, 2 cups in. All right. This is going to reduce. Now we want to stir, get all the clumps, what's left of them from the flour on the leeks and the mushrooms, and just make sure they all break up and all that flour releases into our stock. And that's what's going to thicken everything up. Look at that. Look at that beautiful color already, just from the bits from the bottom of the pan and the steak. And damn, man. Put that shit in a Slurpee. I'm just going to keep moving this, coming around the edges. And like I said before, remember, when you're cooking something, thickening it and setting it, my opinion, of course, are 2 different things. When you're thickening, once you see it boiling, it's not going to thicken anymore. That's as thick as it's going to get. But as it cools or sits, it's going to set up as well. But that's different. Setting up gets it clumpy. It gets that film. It's, where thickening, it's still silky. It's still smooth. It's still beautiful, So I just want to make sure I'm at close to the consistency that I would expect it to be on my plate, knowing that after I turn the heat down and once we get the meat in there, let it finish off, it's going to thicken up a little bit, It's going to set up a little bit. Still a little bit thin. getting there, though. Now she's all starting to boil here, so that's as good as she gets. Now, little tip, if you're making this, but you still have some other things to do, and you kind of just want to let this simmer a little bit on the stove and just let all them flavors kind of meld in a little bit longer than usual, because, I don't know, whatever, you got to go, who knows, I don't know, go get your oil changed or whatever the hell. So just do it a little bit thinner, because in the end, you can always make a roux out of a little flour and a little beef stock and thicken it up. It's harder to go backwards, honestly. I mean, you would think just adding a little more stock in there and loosen it up. And while it does, it just does. It's never the same, man. You always seem to be chasing your tail when you're trying to go backwards, when you're trying to thin something out. It's much easier to thicken things. Again, just my experience and opinion. But look at that. Now that's a beautiful, beautiful consistency, and it is going to set up a little bit more as well. So now at this point, I'm just going to add some herb to it. Just want to brighten it up a little bit. Just give it some earthiness. So if I can find it, I am going to hit it with a little parsley. I don't know, about a teaspoon. And if I can find my oregano, some oregano as well. But I don't know where it is, guys. There it is. And about a teaspoon of oregano. Just gives it a little something, something, you know? Grounds it. Because it's rich. I mean, it's super rich right now. It's super good, though. Look at that. Come on. We're going to cook our ribeye in that shit, guys. That's what I'm talking about. What do you want in life? All right, I'm going to let that simmer for a little bit, bring my heat down to low, just let her get to know each other. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes or so. Got my water going for my noodles now. Just going to give this a stir, and let's see what we made. I want to get everything off the edges here, because there's a ton of flavor on them edges. Get them mixed into the pile, and at this point, let's test it. See what we got going on. Ooh, it's nice. A little salt, a little pepper. Nice, nice, nice. That red wine's coming through nice. Just hit that a little bit. Got to remember the steak has seasoning on it too, and that's going to come off in there. So you don't want to overdo it. And then, just like my gravy, we're going to add that silkiness, tablespoon unsalted. And we're just going to let that melt in there. All right, so we're going to top our steak. Like I said, I'm not sure which, it's not too bad. I wasn't sure how sharp this knife was. It's been a while since I used it. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and trim some of the cut off the outside of it, because we're not going to want that in our beef tips, you know what I mean? We used it to keep our steak nice, moist, add that flavor. Oh, that's meat. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross cut this about a 1/2 inch, just like that. Yum. Turn it, and again, about a 1/2. So I'm so tender right now. I mean, it's rare. I mean, it's blue rare, but damn, man, it is tender. So, and this is what we got. It's beautiful cuts with our crust on them, already seasoned up. Beautiful. So I'm going to bang the rest of these out. Let's get them in our sauce. All right, so here we're at our sauce. I got this on like a medium low, because we don't want to boil it. You got to think sous vide almost. The temperature that you want that meat inside, we're going to try to keep that right around there. So we'll keep it around that 135 mark, you know, we'll guesstimate, you know what I mean? We don't want it hot. We don't want it boiling. We just want to slowly bring that meat up to its temperature in all this deliciousness, which I find a slight little, just a small simmer, just like a witch's cauldron, just kind of boiling in there. You know what I mean? Let's take our ribeye. Add it to this flavor pool right here. It's going to be so much. Love it. Lunch tomorrow. Just like that, guys. So now we're just going to get this in there. Mix it around. And now not only is the sauce flavoring the steak, that steak is flavoring the sauce. Look at that, guys. Come on. Tell me you don't want that over some nice wide egg noodles. Holy shit. That's mighty fine. Mighty fine. All right. I'm going to let those go till they're done. All right. Check it out. Look at that. Look how beautiful it is. That stuff's ready. I got it just on low, just staying warm. Got our boiling water here. Salt your water, boys and girls. Always. And that's it. I'm just going to toss some egg noodles in. And we're going to get these going. We're going to eat. About a half pan. Little goes a long way. Remember that. All right. Got our egg noodles. We're just going to strain them off. And then what we're going to do, this adds an awesome texture to them. Keeps them from clumping together. We're going to shake them and dust them with a little bit of panko. Just adds a little something to the dish. Not much. Doesn't need it. Just gives it just a little texture. Because everything gets so tender, you know? There we go. Look at that. See? All right, guys. Check it out. Build one here. And then we got to eat, man. So what I'm going to do, take my tongs, grab some, put it right in the center here. Nice little pile, like so. Get the other ones out real quick before they clump. There we go. All right. Now, we're going to take our beautiful ribeyes here and mushroom gravy. And we're just going to go around with these guys. Just like so. Take a little bit of the gravy itself. Get it right in them noodles. Hit it with some nice flat leaf, nice chopped up flat leaf parsley. And just because we're at the finish line doesn't mean we stop treating it nice, man. A little Parmesan. Just to finish that bad boy off. Microplane some of that on there. Ribeye, beef tips and noodles, boys and girls. Just like so. Let's check it out. Dig in here. Ooh, that's a big chunk. Look how tender that meat is. Oh, man. beautiful.
Yum, yum, yum.
2 bite ribeye. All right, guys. That's it. That's all I got. Later.